Hello everyone, good evening. As always, it is good to see you. The Congress's Punjab pickle is souring by the minute. Navjot Singh Sidhu has declared war against his captain, Amrinder Singh. An opening batsman with an impeccable sense of timing, he has timed his bagawat well, right ahead of the assembly elections in the state in next year, February. The Congress is stuck between the captain's authority and the batsman's ambition. Adding to the drama, a handful of MLAs who have used this civil war and complained against Amrinder Singh to the Congress High Command. Now, Mr. Sidhu doesn't have any significant support from within the Punjab Congress. So the question is, why is his constant firing at Captain Amrinder Singh being tolerated by the Gandhis? He has called the captain a liar and a crook and much worse. Why has Mr. Sidhu rejected the post of Deputy Chief Minister, and is he really headed to the waiting arms of the Aam Aadmi Party? The captain versus the batsman on the debrief pitch tonight. Here's a preview to the political test match underway in Punjab right now. The captain and the batsman. It's a political test match spiraling out of the Congress's control in Punjab. This cozy bonhomie from a couple of months ago hides the real truth. Much as the Gandhis may try, fact is that the captain and Navjot Singh Sidhu simply cannot stand each other. The reason? Mr. Sidhu thinks it's his time to become captain of the Punjab Congress team and be the CM face for the upcoming elections in February. He's making his pitch clear. He says he's not a showpiece and has rejected the idea of being made the Deputy Chief Minister.
वाह जी वाह ते 1.5 साल पहला की होया सी ਇਹ ਡਿਪਟੀ ਸੀਐਮ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਯਾਦ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ 17 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 10 ਨਵਜੋਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਅਹੁਦਾ ਮੰਗਿਆ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਸੇ ਦਿਨ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨੀ
Navjot Singh Sidhu draws his power from the Gandhi siblings and isn't afraid of showing it. The captain, on the other hand, is cool, at times even dismissive of Rahul and Priyanka, and he has kept Sidhu in check. Sidhu is a star campaigner for the party in other states, but in his home state Punjab, the captain has done his best to ensure that the former cricketer cannot venture out of the pavilion. Sidhu, on the other hand, has constantly needled the Chief Minister. He has accused him of being corrupt, of being a liar, of going slow in the Kotkapura firing case, and not wholeheartedly supporting farmers who are protesting against the farm laws. The bickering between the two has been epic.
मेरे कैप्टन राहुल गांधी हैं, उन्होंने तो भेजा है हर जगह. क्या बात कर रहे हो यार? कौन से कैप्टन की बात कर रहे हो यार? हाँ, ओ कैप्टन अमरिंदर सिंह जी की, वो तो आर्मी के कैप्टन है भाई.
He probably wants to become chief minister and replace me. That's his business.
Navjot Singh Sidhu joined the Congress in 2017 after leaving the BJP. He contested and won from Amritsar and was seen as a prize catch for his ability to attract eyeballs with his Sidhuisms.
अगर अपनी तरफ देखूं तो कुछ नहीं पल्ले. भगवान की रहमत और खेड़ा के प्यार को देखूं तो सिद्धू की बल्ले बल्ले. पिछले 20 साल में अगर किसी ने सबसे ज्यादा इज्जत कमाई है तो हमारी अध्यक्षा.
The Gandhis loved him, and Sidhu returned that love, openly praising the Gandhis from stage and giving credit to Priyanka Gandhi Vadra for joining the Congress.
मिट्टी का ढेला गुलाबों की क्यारी में आ गया, क्योंकि आकाश की कोई सीमा नहीं, पृथ्वी का कोई तोल नहीं, साधु की कोई जात नहीं, पारस और सोनिया जी का कोई तोल नहीं, कोई मोल नहीं.
As this happened, the captain looked on with a frozen face. It was clear to him that a problem child had been dumped on him. Used to calling the shots in Punjab, the captain's authority was constantly and publicly challenged by Sidhu. It came to a head in 2019 when Sidhu and his wife both quit the Amrinder Singh cabinet. The captain called Sidhu a non-performer.
Every day I receive what is the power situation in the state. Now that's the job of the minister to do, but if he doesn't want to do it, then I can't do anything about that.
Out of government, Sidhu continued to trouble the captain, especially when he landed up at the Kartarpur corridor opening on the invite of Imran Khan.
ਇਹਦਾ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਆਰਮੀ ਚੀਫ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੀ ਯਾਰੀ ਦਿਖਾਉਣੀ ਔਰ ਜੱਫੀਆਂ ਪਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨੀ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਦਾਸ਼ਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਗੇ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਨੂੰ।
ਜੱਫੀ ਤੇ 1 ਸਕਿੰਟ ਦੀ ਸੀ, ਕੋਈ ਰਫੇਲ ਡੀਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਉਹ।
2 months ago, Rahul Gandhi, on a visit to Punjab, met the two sparring Sardars and asked them to bury their differences for the sake of the party. The patch-up didn't last long. The problem escalated when other MLAs used this civil war to complain to the Gandhis against the Chief Minister. A 3-member panel has been set up to work out a ceasefire, but neither of the two men are willing to compromise, and the Congress cannot afford to lose either. At least not ahead of an election that is theirs to win. Which Singh will be king? As they say, picture abhi baki hai.
In politics, there are always some leaders who have a nuisance value, and many would describe Navjot Singh Sidhu as that. Many would call him a liability, and here I'm talking about those who are supporters of Captain Amrinder Singh. But the fact that he has been able to sustain himself for so long and keeps on getting the support of the Gandhis goes on to show that whenever the battle for Punjab takes place, the battle between Sidhu and Captain Amrinder Singh will always play a decisive role. In New Delhi, Pallavi Ghosh.
So the swords are out in the Punjab Congress and come at a time when the party has lost face in 4 crucial elections: West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Punjab is theirs to win, but the Congress does have a way of being its own worst enemy. The pretender to the throne in Punjab is the Aam Aadmi Party that has been waiting with open arms in case Navjot Singh Sidhu decides to divorce the Congress party. Today in Punjab, Arvind Kejriwal set the cat amongst the pigeons with his coyness when asked about Navjot Singh Sidhu. Here's what happened. Arvind Kejriwal was in Punjab today.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
And ahead of elections next year, he's already fishing in troubled waters. When asked if Navjot Singh Sidhu was joining the Aam Aadmi Party, this is how he responded.
मैं सिद्धू साहब का बड़ा सम्मान करता हूँ। सिद्धू साहब कांग्रेस के नेता हैं, सीनियर नेता हैं, तो इस तरह की ऐसे लूज टॉक नहीं करनी चाहिए किसी भी नेता के बारे में। जो सिचुएशन भी लौट पाएगी तो ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ही बतावांगे जी, सब तो पहला।
It is a statement that has set the cat amongst the pigeons. Arvind Kejriwal, in an attempt to resurrect his party ahead of the elections, has already announced that the CM face of the party will be a Sikh. Jat Sikhs dominate Punjab's politics. Navjot Singh Sidhu fits the bill, though he has made some pretty uncharitable remarks about Mr. Kejriwal in the past.
केजरीवाल साहब कच्चे घड़े के समान है, नदी में उतारोगे तो डूब जाओगे। केजरीवाल साहब 7 महीने में खांसी तो ठीक कर नहीं सका, दिल्ली कहां से ठीक करेगा भाई?
केजरीवाल सोचते हैं इस दुनिया च ਉਹੀ ਇਮਾਨਦਾਰ ਨੇ।
Arvind Kejriwal, though, has been willing to forgive and forget. After its smashing debut in Punjab in 2017, the Aam Aadmi Party finds itself facing an existential crisis. Navjot Singh Sidhu is definitely a crowd puller, but comes with the risk of overshadowing Mr. Kejriwal himself within the Aam Aadmi Party.
एक ये खबर है कि वो सिद्धू जी आपकी पार्टी में आ गए हैं?
कब आ रहे हैं? मुझे बिल्कुल आइडिया नहीं है।
कोई बातचीत नहीं हुई है?
ना, मेरे को बिल्कुल आइडिया नहीं है इस पर।
स्वागत है उनका?
स्वागत है उनका।
Sidhu so far has denied any flirtation with the Aam Aadmi Party, but Captain Amrinder Singh is sure something is brewing. In an interview to a Punjabi channel, he has accused Sidhu of being an opportunist who has met Arvind Kejriwal on multiple occasions to firm up a deal. The captain has gone on to claim that it has also been decided that Sidhu will fight on an Aam Aadmi ticket from the captain's own home turf of Patiala. A battle royale is underway in the Congress in Punjab. Will the Aam Aadmi Party turn out to be the surprise winner? The prospect is distant but not impossible. In New Delhi, I'm Shreya Dhondiyal. Well, Mr. Sidhu is a restless maverick, one who has already burnt his bridges with the BJP and the Akali Dal, the other two parties in Punjab. The only green pasture available to him right now is the Aam Aadmi Party. Will he switch sides? That, of course, is a million-dollar question, but I can tell you that he does have a history of walking out on his captains, both on and off the field. Take a look.
And since my eyesight wasn't good, just tapped.
The year was 1996.
Sidhu, he's played that shot beautifully.
Navjot Singh Sidhu, Indian cricket team's swashbuckling opening batsman, sent the entire nation into a tizzy by walking out on his captain midway during the tour of England. It took 15 years for the truth to come out. Sidhu was incensed by the cuss words hurled at him by Mohammad Azharuddin. Sidhu returned to the team 6 months later, but the message was clear. Sherry would not take anything lying down, even from his captain, even if it meant abandoning his team. 25 years later, Sidhu looks set to run out his captain once again. Only this time, it could be at the risk of stranding the entire Congress party.
सत्य के मार्ग पे चल के ही परम पद पाए। पंजाब के सच और हक की आवाज मैंने हाई कमांड को बुलंद आवाज में बताई है। जीतेगा पंजाब, पंजाब को जिताना है। पंजाब के हर एक नागरिक को हिस्सेदार बनाना है, भागीदार बनाना है और इस ताकत को उन तक पहुंचाना है।
Earlier this month, Sidhu insisted that he's still batting for his party. But in a telling indication, he made no reference to his chief minister, the man one would assume to be the captain of the Congress's ship in Punjab. Sidhu's comments came after a livid Amrinder Singh had torn into him earlier this year, accusing him of openly wanting to quit the party after repeatedly attacking his chief minister. One could sympathize with Amrinder as, after all, Sidhu has a history of walking out on his party after not getting his way. The former Amritsar MP had sulked after his ticket was given by the BJP to Arun Jaitley for the 2014 Lok Sabha polls, and then famously walked out on both his party and the Rajya Sabha 2 years later.
4 इलेक्शन जीतने के बाद राज्यसभा देके ये कहा जाता है, सिद्धू पंजाब से दूर रहो। किसकी इच्छा से, किस वजह से?
Only to walk into the waiting arms of the Gandhis, who continue to be his fans till today.
दोस्तों, I'm a born congressman. I'm a born congressman.
But this so-called born congressman quit his government 2.5 years later, taking his feud with his chief minister to a point of no return.
Yesterday I was told that he has sent his resignation to the Congress president. Today I am told that he has delivered it in the house in Chandigarh this morning. So when I get back to Chandigarh tomorrow day after, then I will have a look.
For now, the most watched man in the state insists that he will walk out of any position in power if he stops in building a Punjab model.
Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar said that the governments are by the people, for the people. What have you done for the people? Tell me.
Cricketer, commentator, comedy show judge, MP, minister. Navjot Singh Sidhu has played in every possible position in his career except for being the captain himself. That will truly be the cherry on top, as the man's Twitter bio describes himself. But in his haste to hit the defining six of his career, will Sidhu end up being hit wicket? Ritangshu Bhattacharya for CNN News 18.
I'm going straight across to my colleague Pallavi Ghosh, who tracks the Congress party for us. Pallavi, the Congress has dug its own grave, hasn't it? The fact is, for the last 2 years, the swords have been out between Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu. And by the looks of it, the Congress has not even tried to fix the problem. Because had they tried, you know, the crisis wouldn't have come right ahead of the elections.
And absolutely, but the problem also is that Navjot Singh Sidhu is a habitual offender. It's not the first time. But despite the fact that the Gandhis have intervened, they have insisted that the two of them should work together, they actually haven't ended up working together. So that tutu meh has been going on. Off recently, Sidhu has been complaining about the fact that whether it's on the drug issue, whether it's in the Kotkapura police firing issue, and every other issue, Captain has just not delivered. But at that point of time, the Gandhis did not step in to say, let's not make these public comments. What can be worse than the fact that tomorrow Captain is going to be meeting the panel which has been set up to sort out issues, and there you have Sidhu sitting in Punjab, giving those interviews also in Punjabi and to just about everybody, talking about the fact that how the Captain is a complete disaster and he's no one to stop him. He's actually, in a sense, Shreya, I would say, daring the Congress party. Now, what happens over here is, and I'm sure the Captain tomorrow, when he meets the panel, will use this opportunity to make the points. There you have it. he makes these kind of public statements, which builds a very bad perception, especially when AAP is breathing down our back. So there are two important developments which have happened today, which could have a bearing on how the decision is finally taken by the top leadership. One, of course, is Sidhu's very open, aggressive attacks on the captain. And second, Arvind Kejriwal, no less, is sitting in Punjab today and he's trying to fish in the troubled waters and also taking pot shots at the Congress leadership.
But why is the Congress tolerating this misbehavior from Mr. Sidhu? It's not like Mr. Sidhu has a whole lot of support within the Punjab Congress. The fact is that Amrinder Singh remains the strong man of the Punjab Congress in Punjab. Then why tolerate him at all?
See, the whole reason why Sidhu was actually brought in 2017 to the Congress was for two reasons. One, the fact that he was actually leaving the BJP and coming to the Congress. For them, that was a big issue enough. Second, the Gandhi siblings were mesmerized by Sidhu. They felt, he's speaking, and we've been seeing those sound bites, the way he used to hold the crowd, they used to laugh, they used to clap for him. They thought that this is something which could translate into votes, especially the fact that he's a former cricketer and also a talk show host. And therefore, he could reach out to the young people. I have been to several campaigns where he has campaigned. No doubt, huge crowds, people clapping. But none of that got translated into votes. But this is something which has not hit the Gandhis. See, what the Gandhis try to do, and if you watch their pattern, and it's in state after state where there's a strong regional satrap who does not listen to them, they try to prop up a second line of leadership. Now, that second line of leadership may not be the best person. What is happening is that some like Pargat Singh, who hate the captain, are firing from the shoulder of Sidhu to hit out at the captain. But not everyone who met the panel and who are against the captain actually spoke in favor of Navjot Singh Sidhu.
My last question to you, and I have just 10 seconds. Do you actually see Navjot Singh Sidhu quit the Congress party and join the Aam Aadmi Party?
Well, I mean, if you also know the working of the Aam Aadmi Party, where it's all about Arvind Kejriwal, would Arvind Kejriwal really want someone like a Sidhu, who's a megalomaniac in a sense, who is charismatic himself? Would he want competition? I mean, I think that kind of answers it.
All right, we'll leave it there. Pallavi, thank you very much for this quick chat. And as we speak, missiles are incoming from Mr. Sidhu, this even as the Congress party in Delhi is trying to sort out the crisis within the Congress party. Mr. Sidhu giving interviews. We have an exclusive chat with him as well. That's up next. Do stay with us. Welcome back. As we speak, missiles are incoming from Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu. In an interview with Network 18's Punjabi channel, he didn't hold any punches. His interview, almost an act of defiance, is coming on a day when Captain Amrinder Singh is in Delhi to meet the Gandhis, who are trying very hard to broker a peace deal between the warring Sardars. Take a look.
सिद्धू साहब ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ એનર્ਜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਾਨਣਾ ਚਾਹ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਿੱਧਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ
ਮੇਰੀ એનર્ਜੀ खुली किताब है, सब ਨੂੰ दिखती है, कोई अज दी नहीं है, 17 साल दी है। मेरी जर्नी जी है 17 साल की, वो मैं टका के दस दूँ तेन इक्को एजेंडे ते खड़ा कि यह सिस्टम जो दो पंजाब के पावरफुल परिवार कब्जा करी बैठे है, चला रहे वारियां खेडते हैं, अपने बिजनेस इंटरस्ट प्रोटैक्ट करते हैं। मैं क्या ना लोगों को सब पता है, राजेश खन्ना जी कहते ना पब्लिक है सब जानती, कुछ दसन नहीं सब पता है, एक एक चीज़ पता उन्होंने, ये भेद खुल गए, ये पर्दे फाश हो गए, छुपे रुस्तम हुण ऐन सामने आ गए, टका के पता लग गया लोगों को। ठीक है, सब तो वड्डी जिहड़ी दुखद गल है कि जिहड़ा लैगिसलेचर है उहदी गरिमा नूं ढाल आ चुकी है। 25 साल 3 लाख करोड़ का करजा, ये जिहड़ी इररिपेयरेबल डैमेज है ना, वो इसे दा है कि लोगों ने नुमाइंदे चुने, लोगों ने MLA चुने, MP चुने हैं, तो तुसीं इस सिस्टम नूं अफसर नूं जवाबदेही बनाता। अफसर तो नहीं चुने ना लोगों ने, तो जो तुम अफसरां इस सिस्टम जवाबदेही बनाओ और अफसरां आप कंट्रोल करो, ये मिनिस्ट्री ठोक दो, इनू ऐ कर दो, इनू ऐ कर दो, इनू टंगा थल्लों कढ़ना, ऐ करना, हरेक नूं कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करते। यही सिस्टम है और इस सिस्टम नूं बदलण दे लई मैं लड़ रहा मित्रा, अज दा नहीं लड़ रहा, उदों दा लड़ रहा। और लोगों ने देख लिया निरंतर 5-6 इलैक्शन जिताते, समझा नहीं क्यों
बदलिया सिस्टम।
मैं किया ना क्यों, बिल्कुल अज देख ला भेद खुले पे ने, चूड़ा हिलियां पईयां ने, कमबख्ती की निशानी, सूख गया कुएं का पानी, वो कहते ना कमानी ना पहिया, ते गड्डी जोते मेरा भैया।
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਦਲ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਆਏਗਾ ਕੌਣ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਓਗੇ?
ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ
ਕੈਪਟਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ
ਮੈਂ
ਫਿਰ
ਕਿਹਾ
ਕੌਣ?
ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨਾ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ ਤੋਂ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਰੋਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਚੋਚੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਿੱਤਰਾ। ਸਭ ਪਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਸਭ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੌਣ ਰਾਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ 25 ਸਾਲ, ਕਰਜ਼ਾ ਕਿਦਾਂ ਚੜਿਆ, ਇੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਪਤਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਅਵਗਤ ਕਰਾਤਾ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਠੋਕ ਕੇ, ਹਰੇਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ।
Who is Amrinder Singh? He lies almost every day. These are some of the things that Mr. Sidhu has said in this interview as well. Mr. Sidhu's political career has been a bit like a nail-biting T20 match. You never know which way it will go next. It's a delicious story to track. We are tracking it right here on Debrief. Thanks very much for watching.